Yeah. Are we? So can I get a better response then? Good morning. Oh, that's more like it. I'm sure most of our colleagues are not here because of the rain. Shows how much we're scared of the rain than cars on streets, but I'm sure they'll be here in a bit. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. I work with Citi FM. I'm a business news anchor as well as the head of Citi Business News. And on behalf of the company, I want to say welcome to the footprint. We're currently at the Ghana Telecom University College, and we're bringing you one of the best events for tertiary persons, because we believe, well, when I was in school, I think there were opportunities like this, but did I really take advantage of them? I'm not sure I did. And till today, I actually regret not doing them. I was speaking to a couple of you before, you came in here, and we're talking about some of the opportunities we are presented to every day and whether we take advantage of them. Now, you have people say to you that, I want to go into A or B industry. I'm in the university now, I'm about to enter the university, but I don't know really what that industry entails. I don't know what to expect in terms of challenges, how to deal with them, etc., etc. So we are going to give you a platform where some of these questions you have bothering you, you can deal with them. We're bringing you the best in the industry, that's the technology industry, from the person who started a company, from the person who is in one of the big companies, from the person who is with a multinational company. So anybody in the technology industry that you're likely to toe towards that line, we have them here for you today. And the women, usually you don't see a lot of women in the technology industry because they say it's a man's world. And there are actually quite a number of industries in Ghana, or sectors in Ghana, and people say, oh, it's a male-dominated industry. What are you going to do there? You won't succeed. And even when you are in there, you can feel the men trying to push you out. I always try to push the woman's agenda with no apology. But for the women, we also have a woman here today who would also, teach you or tell you or help you understand how you can find or wiggle your way through this industry, the likely challenges you're going to see, etc. But in general, every good thing doesn't come easy. I think Muhammad Ali said, if you have a dream and it's so easy to achieve, then it's not a dream. A dream should be so big, so huge that when you even think about it, you shiver. I have some dreams, and sometimes when I think about it, I say to myself, why don't I forget about this dream and just stick to, something else? And because it's so huge, sometimes you get scared and you want to leave it. But dreams can be achieved. And these people we have here today have achieved some of their dreams, or are achieving their dreams. And it just brings to show that anything or everything is possible if you work hard, set your mind towards it, you can do it. So we'll start in a bit. This program will be live on Citi 97.3 FM in about 5 minutes. It will run till the afternoon. We have 5 speakers, 1 from here, and the 4 others are coming from other industries. So first of all, I want to say, how many of you were with us last year, attended this program last year? Anybody? Well, you did. Sir, what's your name? Sorry? Derek. So what were some of the things you enjoyed from last year that has made you come back this year? Okay, wait just a second. Let me get the microphone to you. Don't be shy. Don't be shy of your colleagues. They're just like you, and some of them are even shaking already. So feel free. They're as human.
business. So the entrepreneurial fundamentals that I could get from here. Also, I also want to get some marketing skills, how we can go about learning all those skills to help us build businesses in the future. So those are some of the things that I'm coming here for. And I pray that at the end of the day, I could get what I needed here. Thank you.
Thank you, great. I think you're going to get that because all our speakers are going to give you that. Anybody else on what they're expecting? I thought I saw a hand here. You're right, yeah. The gentleman in the, is it Angelina Cloth or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
My name is Tewia Desmond.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm just here to learn how to use technology for our benefit, because most of us we have different plans and different courses that we offer. I'm just here to learn how I can use technology in my field. That's all.
Okay, what do you do?
Okay, I'm a student of Ghana Institute of Journalism.
Oh, great. So you want to know how you can use technology. I think Abdul will help you on that, and Fifi's here. Fifi will help you, and Alex as well as Mr. Angwa. So I think we're in the off. Wow, there's one here. So my lady here will say what she's also expecting after him, and then we take off.
My name is Moro Abdul.
Yes, Moro.
I'm thinking the main reason why I'm here is to have a career direction, because I was told by one of our lecturers that most of the things that we are going to need in real career life, we can't find it in the lecture halls. It's through these seminars and programs that we can experience them and have a real feel of the career world. So that's the main reason why I'm here, to have, let's say, a career direction and know what's supposed to do in about 2 to 3 years. Thank you.
Great. I think your lecturer gave you the right and best advice. And let's take a final one from my pretty lady here, and then we start with our first speaker.
I'm Gloria.
Yes, Gloria.
I want to know about the entrepreneurship world concerning technology and how to move fast in the technological ladder.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Gloria. So we'll start first, but let me acknowledge our sponsors, MTN Business SIC, BNFT Media Partners. It's also powered by CitiBusinessNews.com. Now, we have other programs that are geared towards the youth, and along the line, I'll talk to you about them. But we want to be active on social media, so I'm sure everybody here is on Facebook or Twitter or all those kinds of social media platforms. Our hashtag is #CitiBiz Festival. You can take a selfie of yourself, you can put down something you've observed from here, what you're expecting, any of the speaker, what they say, put it in writing, and then tweet or put it on Facebook for us, and let's trend. And you can also, if you're shy to raise your hand and ask a question, you can put it there. So first you add #CitiBizNews. The biz is BIZ News. It will pop up, and I can always put it across to our speakers here. So let's start with our first speaker for this morning. He's Anthony Angmore. He's a lecturer here. He lectures, he has a degree in engineering technology. He's been an engineering technologist for over 13 years. He holds a BSc in an MSc in information technology from the Moscow State Technical University and other certificates from specific technology schools. He's had the opportunity to serve in different countries with different assignments, including design and implementation of management solutions for universities, ICT help desk for expert and diplomatic communities, communication and access technology for financial institutions, management of regional software implementation, training for national solution implementation, as well as multimedia communication system for institutions. Now, one key or interesting thing about Anthony is that he challenges and motivates his trainees to work hard in understanding concepts in information technology innovate new ways of doing things with IT, and remain at the cutting edge. His research interests includes heterogeneous network optimization and data communication, emerging architecture in network security, and cost-effective techniques in cloud computing adoption. I think this first speaker is very key because most of us think that the journey begins when we finish school. Actually, the journey begins right from the moment you enter into that institution where you've decided I'm going to do A, B, and C course. And actually, your calling can come at that time. But would you recognize it? Would you know that this is it, or what you've discovered at that time, you can make the best out of it, or take advantage and move to the next level and fly, or even compete with the big guys outside? So Anthony is going to teach you how to, project that attitude or psyche your mind to move towards that position that you need to plan for. So let's welcome Anthony Angmore, who is a lecturer here, to help us understand how we can play it big in the industry. With a round of applause, let's welcome Anthony Angmore.
Hi, good morning to you all. Yeah, I know it's cold out there today, but I'm really excited to talk about these things because I also was in a place like you, once upon a time. 1999, 2000, I was asking myself those questions. I want to thank you, Citi, for this opportunity. I also acknowledge the head of our department, Dr. Isa, for the opportunity to represent the faculty. Okay, so technology entrepreneurship in the 21st century. Is it up? Okay. Okay, I think it's not moving. Okay. All right, so by way of overview, I'm going to go through kind of introduce it. What is entrepreneurship? How do you become it or get in there? What are the trends in the industry? What are some problems? Obviously, I'm going to, there is an order I'm going to follow. The cost for being an entrepreneur, the timing, the challenge, and I also concluded. Okay, now, the first thing is, it is a well-known fact that 90% of the data we have in the whole world was generated in only 2 years. The whole world, okay, today. All was generated only in 2 years. The question is, what caused this spike, okay, or upsurge in data in the world? How come only in 2 years? Now, this was really possible because new solutions were developed, okay? And what we call ubiquitous computing devices also went on the upsurge. And so now I go everywhere, you see people stand, everybody is taking a selfie, right? You upload all this information somewhere, okay? Now, once you do this, you keep adding to the data in the world, basically. Okay. So I know Vivian was talking about take a picture, write something. All this is adding to the data in the world. All right. Now, I want to look at how this graduation is actually changing the face of entrepreneurship. Specifically looking at technology. And technology, I want to be focused, not talk about constructional technology or road technology, no. I want to look at information technology, okay? Now, with all this happening, something key stands out in all, okay? Now you realize that if you type your name in Google, for example, you'll be appearing in many places. I get surprised when my name shows up sometimes. You know, years ago I was in the UK, I did something. I didn't know that it was in the papers in the UK. Years after, I just thought, let me just type my name in Google and just check what they, what they can come up with. And I realized that that thing that happened many years ago was online. And I was just thinking, whoa, if I went to steal, okay, I mean, what would have happened to me? So everything happening is actually being captured. But this is the good part and the dangerous part. For those of you who read the Bible or, a little bit religious, it's actually said that the time will come that you will not be able to buy or sell without a certain mark, okay? What does this tell you? Right now, if you look at computing trends in general, we are trying to profile everybody. Everybody is being profiled, okay? We are part of it. We are developing systems that help you to profile us, to capture your details, everything. I was in one of the airports, and whilst we were in the queue, somebody just came, removed the spectacle, and looked into a camera, and that was it. That was the passport control for him. And I said, oh boy, okay? I mean, that's how advanced this whole thing is, going. But the question is, what does this hold for entrepreneurs? Okay. Now, basically, I want to, blind my screen right now. Now, I want to ask you a question. When we talk about entrepreneurship, because I'm supposed to make it, interactive, what is your thought? What do you think about it? Yes. You may have searched it. You may have asked yourself questions and all that. What do you think about it? Yes. Anybody? What do you know about entrepreneurship? Yes. I think for time I'll just take maybe 2 people. Yeah.
Yeah, an entrepreneur is simply somebody who owns a business, manages it, take control of the business, and deals with the affairs of the business in general.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other person? Please, this person here. I think I'll just do, maybe later on we'll do the others. Okay. So you own a business, you manage it, you do all the concerns. Okay, please go.
I think an entrepreneur is one who sees a problem of a community,
okay,
designs a solution for that problem,
okay,
executes it to solve human problem, and make capital out of it.
Okay. Thank you very much. All what you said is true, especially the second person. Now, that is where my interest is. The ability to determine a problem. You want to work in the bank, you want to be an HR manager, and all those kind of things. You see, they in themselves don't solve anything. Okay? You got to first of all identify that niche, that problem that intrigues you, that moves you. Okay, so my definition really of entrepreneurship focuses on that capacity, the ability to say. And as we go along, I will tell you a lot about how friends who are very skilled, extreme Fortune 500 programmer, okay, and I mean high-level programmers, okay, but that is their niche. However, they also don't have it all. That is just their focus. That's what, it's like having a tool, but you need to know what to use it for, right? Okay, and so the problem identification is a key thing I want to, focus on. So the question is, develop what? Okay, develop, be a business owner and all this kind of, but at the end of the day, you got to be solving a specific problem, okay? Now, once you want to do that, you want to do a development, number one is the discovery. You got to discover something. Okay, and in Ghana is a very interesting place because I heard the president say many years ago that Ghana is the easiest place to make $1 million. Okay, now Ghanaians don't see that, but if you're a foreigner, you see that. Okay, I know that people are swimming to go to Europe, whilst Europeans also cry to be. I have Italian friend, okay, who just wants to be here. Okay, he said it doesn't make sense to him. Why would a black man, African, want to swim and come to Italy? It doesn't make sense to him. Okay? But you see, if you can see what they can see here, then you can actually position yourself well. Okay. Now, once you're able to discover, then the development can begin. All right. Now, I like what Mike Murdoch said. He said, in your life on earth, you'll be remembered for only two things: the problems you solved and the problems you created. Okay. And obviously, we know Hitler created one, right? Lee Kuan Yew maybe also solved one. Okay, so basically, don't think that, oh, as for me, I don't matter. No, you matter. You either be creating one or you be solving one. Okay, now the question is, how do I become an entrepreneur? Okay, that's a big question. So now we've laid a very important foundation. Number one is, I have to determine a problem. I want to ask you a quick question. Just say it out loud. As you sit in this room right now, do you have in your mind any problem that you know that you can use technology to solve? Or you may see the problem, but you don't know how to solve it? Any of you? Any problem? You don't know any problem? Yes. Say it out loud. Have what? Ouch.
I have found a solution to help people who have heart-related diseases.
Heart-related. Okay, using IT? Using IT?
No, not using IT.
Okay, all right, okay, fine. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yes.
This has to do with our system of voting. I think with IT we can create a much better system than the normal ballot paper.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's good. That's good. Now I've seen that problem too. What are you in the university? What level? 200. 200 is also a good level. Okay. Usually I like for people to start thinking from level 100, because usually when you miss it, forget about it. Okay. It may work later, but it may be too late. Level 100, 200 is a good time. Okay. Once you can start thinking from there, it's much more better for you. Now, I also want to say this, that when it comes to identifying a problem, it doesn't have to be necessarily you bringing the whole thing fresh. No, you can be an employee and still be an entrepreneur. Okay, because when that's the line I wanted to draw, because everybody thinks being an entrepreneur means go set up your own business. That is fine, but you see, there are clever ways of doing it. You can be an employee and realize that there is a problem in the organization. Once you determine the problem, you can find out how to solve it. Once you know how to solve it and the benefit, call your CEO and say, CEO, listen, I've seen a problem here. I want to solve it. How much will you give me? Okay, so you need to find out reward systems. And I believe in managements like that, where you come to your manager and you say, sir, I've seen a problem here. I can help you solve it. This is it. This is it. Tell me how much you give me. And then move from there. Okay, so you can be an entrepreneur even though you are an employee. Okay, if you give the idea, not share the idea, share the benefit. And if they still say that, listen, we are not interested, that's fine. You can then start thinking how to get it done. Just need to watch my time. Okay. All right, so is that point clear? Because obviously not many of you can start right, when you leave school, okay? And you need to, so there is timing also with it, and you have to watch that well. Okay, now, it's also important for you to see very well. You need to know what is going on, okay, in the industry generally. Number one, now we're moving back to what we call server-based computing trend. So now we are pushing all the tasks to servers to do all the processing, and then we use end devices that are doing very little processing to more like do the manipulation. Okay, this is a trend that we're not turning away from. It's going to be the order of the day. server consolidation, or what is known as virtualization, has also come to stay. Now, this is just to inform those of you in IT how to actually look at where the world is going and also prepare yourself. Ubiquitous computing, this has come to stay. I tell everybody as we move along now that desktop computing has no place in the future. Okay, desktop. If you go and buy desktop and put, I know there are people who are selling them, so this is not good news to them. But if you are following the trend, you will see desktop computing doesn't have any future. So if you are an advisor to your people, go tell them this is not going to work in the future. Okay, ERP solutions are everywhere now. E-government, accounts, HR, all of them. These are all in there now. We also have database administration is becoming more and more required and needed in almost every institution. Heterogeneous network design, implementation, optimization has also come to stay. I don't know if you heard the news just yesterday, whilst the British people were moving to register, the site crashed. You heard it yesterday? It was already up there. This is all to do with the optimization. Okay, we even had one like that in this country. At a point, all services of a provider went live, and when they went live, the system crashed. Okay, there are issues there. Now, as we talk today, gigabit devices are already in production. Okay, so basically the idea is to move away from cabling. Okay, technology policy designers are also needed now. More security experts also required, and then there's more application development teams coming up. I want to just share quickly a few problems. Number one, I know that you mentioned that of the EC. Okay, I have also seen some problems. Do you know that when you go to, there are companies actually that they collect the VAT, they don't pay to government? It's a problem, okay? And then you also realize the queues you have to be in when you go to pay, both at the GRA and the SNIT, okay? These are all problems, okay? And you've mentioned some of it. All right. Now, I mention these because it can help you to start thinking. Once there is a problem, what can we do to solve it? Now, what does it cost to become an entrepreneur? Like we've said, once you see a problem, and the question I was trying to share with Vivian, when I went to university, I think level 100, coming to 200, I don't know what happened to me, but I always wanted to know who I'm going to become when I leave school. It was very important to me. And I wanted to know, what do I need to know in order to become that person? Okay, that question drove me out of the class to go into industry, to find out what is going on there. Everywhere I was just trying to be there. In my attempt to get the knowledge required to become what I want to become, it ended up becoming business for me. So you see, money was in my drive. I wanted to know what I must know in order to become what I want to become. In doing so, people found job for me. So before long, we had a 15th floor hostel. Before long, I was assembling computers. Now, in Russia, you don't go and buy Dell, HP. No. They ask you, what do you want the computer for? What you're going to do with it? Once you say what you want to do, then they assemble the parts for you. That's how we do it there. Okay, and so once I got this, and it's all over now, I began to do this everywhere, helping network setup. And before I realized, I was friends with big people, and now it gave me a lot of access. But I'm saying this, I didn't go because I want money. No, I wanted to know. I wanted to just master what I must know. That was all. Okay, and so you must acquire new skills. If what you want to do, like you mentioned EC, okay, it means you may have to upgrade your skills. Some programming languages, some network, some security stuff, and all that. Then you start. Okay, one of the students, we encouraged them to do this. Before the level 300 ended, he had already learned a new, and he wasn't even in my faculty. He learned a new programming language and wrote a program with it before the end of level 300. That is how serious it is. And he was ready to sell it before he left school. You can do it. See a problem, get the required skills, and then move towards it. You got to work hard. Now, the other thing I want to mention is sometimes you need to form partnerships, okay? Because you may not be able to do it alone. Somebody was telling me, you seem to have so many solutions. I said, no, it's not because I want money. It's just I see more problems, okay? Every problem you see is business on its own, okay? So what I do is I get people who can do it whilst I share the idea. So we sign an agreement. Okay, I'm giving the idea, you writing it, I'm monitoring it, and that's how it works. Sometimes you have to form partnerships. You got to work hard, and especially here in Ghana, you got to pray too. Okay, you got to pray. Yeah, I know some people would think that is no, what is prayer? Okay, no, but you got to pray. Okay, it's also good. You have to do that. Okay, then timing. You can become an entrepreneur now. Okay, you can do something now as a student, and it can apply in industry. Just this past semester, I gave a project to my students, and one of them was just interested in the security aspect of it. He continued so steadfastly. At the end of the semester, I said, you know what, because of this seriousness, I'll connect you to a company. We did that, and the guy has provided a solution in just level 200. Level 200. Okay, so you can start now. You know, when you get to know what you want to become, a lot of the foolish things you put away. Okay, don't waste your time. Start now and persevere. Okay, persevere in what you want to do. You will be misunderstood. It may not even be people may not understand what you're trying to say and all that, and there will be delays. And here in Ghana, you can be frustrated as well, but persevere, and it's going to be well. In conclusion, I will say, find out and answer the question, who do I want to become? What is required of me? Okay? And then put yourself to the task to make it your study. And if you want to be relevant in life, find the problem that you can solve and solve well, and it will go well. Thank you very much.
Come on, you can do better than that. I know a lot of you have questions for Anthony already, or some things you want to be explained to you better. We will take your questions, comments, what have you, after we are done with all the speakers. So just write it down somewhere. Or like I said, you can do a hashtag CitiBiz Festival on our Twitter as well as Facebook page, and then we'll take them at that point. But Anthony, just one or two things. So you were talking about them sharing ideas, forming teams to come up with what they have or develop it. But some people say, well, I shared my idea with my friend at a point in time. I realized that after a week or two, he had gone behind me and started that, implementing my idea. At what point do you decide to share with who to do what?
I think the first thing I want to tell you, like you are in level 200, some of you are also in level 100. I think you need to watch the knowledge requirement gathering time. Okay, if you think that given the time that you have, you cannot still complete it, okay, then before I used to I trust people, you have no idea what you're going to suffer, okay. Now I believe that write an agreement. If it even means go to, some lawyers can do these things for you for free, okay. So enter into an agreement. Yes, you can be in level 100, enter into an agreement. It doesn't matter, okay, just to safeguard you, okay. And so when it comes to going to court, you're okay. Yeah, but it has to be done. One, check if you can do it yourself. If you can, there's no need, okay? But if you think it's too big than you, then you have to determine whom you can really trust, okay, to do it. And then sign it. Just not trust, sign it also, okay.
There's a question on Twitter already. It's from Adam Robbie. He says, what point do you decide? I think that's the same question I put to Anthony, at what point do you decide to share your idea with who and what? And then if you have developed an app, everything is done, who do you go to? Because I've spoken to a lot of students in the tech industry. They all seem to have great ideas. Of course, we know there's the MTN app challenge and all that. But who do you go to with those? Because there's so many great ideas. They've come up with great things. They don't know who to go to, or sometimes their ideas don't fit in our society. So who do you go to?
Okay, so the first thing here is, like we said, if you identify the problem in a certain area, then the product is fit for that area. For example, in your case, you mentioned the EC. So the problem is, specifically to solve a problem in EC. Okay, however, when you do the development, if you talk about app or application, even if it's just an app that you need to go through the regulatory stuff, whether it's Android or iOS, for them to certify that it's okay to run in their environment. And then number two, the potential customer that you develop for, you need to approach them. You need to approach them. Sometimes you may even, during the development phase, go to them and ask them questions, so they know. But you need to be sure of how they work now, so that when you bring it, yours is not rather obsolete to their current practices.
Okay, we'll come back to that when we open the questions. But let's go to our second speaker for this morning. A group of them started something great. Of course, you have more ideas on how they were able to do it, so that none of them went behind the other and came up with the idea and all that. But basically, it will help us understand how to start from the beginning and get to the top. We all know their story, so he will shy away from doing so much of the story. But look at where you guys are. Most of you are in uni now. You're now thinking of what to do, how you're going to enter into the industry. It looks like a huge competitive one, because I see a lot of technology guys every day, and all of them have great ideas. How do you enter? And you can see when somebody's better than you and all that in terms of talent. But this guy who is coming up next, he'll help us understand how we can do that. Is Alex Ajay Bram. He's General Manager for SMSGH. How many of you know SMSGH? Wow, it looks like almost everybody knows SMSGH, but I'm sure he'll talk a bit about that too. Now, his dedication and professional sense of duty helped him grow, together with his team, SMSGH, into a world-class messaging company, and to maintain its local leadership position in the mobile messaging aggregation and application space. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He has a vast experience in business and project management, as well as in mobility application deployments. Under his supervision, SMSGH processes more than 4 million messages for over 5,000 corporate clients, serving more than 10 million mobile subscribers and application-dependent users. This is massive. Massive, massive, massive. 4 million messages for over 5,000 corporate clients. I'm sure you're thinking, hey, when will I get there? You will get there. It's just hard work and determination, and taking a lot from what he's come to say to you this morning. So let's welcome Alex Ajay Bram with a round of applause. Alex, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. It is an honor to be here. Like Vivian said, I am not going to talk to you today about SMSGH and its founding. I am sure many of you and Citi FM listeners already know the story quite well, so I rather want to take the time to share some stories and thoughts with you. Like many of you, as far back as my early primary school age, I was told a story of the good life. The story goes like, make sure you stay in school, learn hard so you're promoted, and you are not left behind. I am sure many of you heard similar stories. Promotion comes with many of life's rewards. So you could become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, a pilot, and you have the chance to be an important person in society. You earn a good salary, you drive a big car, and you probably live in a very big house. And I bought it. That's the only ticket, I said to myself, to a good life. And I wanted it all. So when I finally made it to the pinnacle of schooling, I had gone to the end of the line. And I had entered my beloved Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. I was told another story. This time the story sounded even sweeter and simpler. We were told we were among the most privileged to have made it into a university. We were winners already, with only one more step to the good life. It doesn't really matter what course we took. Once we followed the chew, pour, pass and forget mantra, we will pass out with flying colors and take our tickets to the good life. This time I didn't buy it. Something wasn't right with this story. The outcome didn't sound fulfilling enough. You know what they say, fool me once, you can continue it. So I spent a good part of the 4 years trying to figure this out. And in the process, I affiliated myself with all sorts of extracurricular activities. Like I would attend trade shows and I'll help with the organization. I'll do simple radio gigs. I'll join agric clubs, art clubs, sports clubs, whole week celebrations and the like. Somewhere in there, I found that I was a passionate organizer. That I simply just enjoy bringing order to chaos of a social kind. But don't point me out as lucky. Throughout my short career, I have met a lot of people who are not, or who are yet to find, or who are, really yet to make that discovery. And quite simply, they don't enjoy what they do. They simply go through life getting on with it. They get no great pleasure from what they do. They endure it rather than enjoy it and wait for the weekend. So Fridays are good days for such. But I've also met a few people who truly love what they do and they can never imagine doing anything else because it speaks to their authentic self. Why is that? Is it divine design? When I on radio, driving here, Bernard and Godfred in the studio were trying to figure it out. I think there are many possible explanations for this. And high among them, for me, is education. And I know a lot of people would attribute why we don't get it as a society as much. I will simply place all my cards and all my comments following now on education. While I am not an education expert, let me attempt to explain this. While formal education is great and has contributed immensely to the development of our country, it has also, in a way, dislocated very many people from their natural talents. You see, human resources are like natural resources, like the gold and the recent oil that we're all so crazy about. They are often buried deep. You have to go looking for them. They're not just lying around on the ground. You have to create circumstances where they show themselves. And you have to imagine that education would be the way that this should happen. But so often, it doesn't happen that way. If you're wondering now why I a technology entrepreneur, I want to have a go at education. Let me try and explain further. You see, unlike the other paradigms, technology relies on unlike the other paradigms, technology relies solely on talent. So you can speak of other paradigms like agriculture or the industrial age or the manufacturing age. Technology relies solely on talent. When Zuckerberg and his roommate built Facebook, talent was all they had. When Google, Larry Page and Sergey Brin huddled with their friends in a garage in Silicon Valley to build Google, talent was all they had. So in my industry, talent is really important. By 2050, the world will be home to more than 10 billion people. And technology will play a crucial role in how we organize and get people to engage. So if you're ever going to have a chance at building a better society or a country for tomorrow, one that will create jobs, one that will put enough people to productive use, we must take a critical look at what the future would look like and who will work in that future. There are things we have become so enthralled in today, we become so enthralled to in education. That sadly prevents us from doing this. One example is the idea of education linearity and conformity. That it starts here, probably from creche or pre-K or these days even kids as young as 2 years old are being put in school. So it starts here and it goes all the way along a particular linear track and it will end up in a university. And once you do that, you will be set for the rest of your life. And we have become so obsessed with this linear narrative. Unfortunately, many graduates, perhaps some of you included here, will you leave school and discover the harsh reality. There are fewer and fewer jobs for our linear conformist education system because it has continued to become exclusive and more misaligned even with industries of today and most importantly jobs of the future. So how do we help fix this problem? I think we must consider two things. The first thing is we must try to rethink and reposition our education to support as many people who love what they do or what they become. It is simply not good enough to say this person dropped off, so you're on your own. You've dropped off the line. You can go become something else other than what is really at the end of the line. We must also evolve an inclusive system that will educate and nurture and show some respect and give enough support to as many people who will not necessarily follow the line nor conform. The people we call the so-called dropouts. But it's not only about that. It's also about passion. Often people are good at things that they really care for. And if you're doing the thing that you love and the thing that you are good at, time tends to take on a different course entirely. If you're doing something you love, an hour feels like 5 minutes. And if you're doing something that doesn't resonate with your spirit, 5 minutes could feel like an hour. And the reason so many of our graduates are losing faith in higher education is because they feel trapped by this linear narrative. That at the end of the line, there are very few benefits. Not even a job is guaranteed. The more competitive ones even go further down the line, all in a quest to get ahead of others. So I think we have to change the metaphors. If we're even going to have a society that will have enough talent to even develop technology and to help build great technology companies in this part of the world, we have to go from what is essentially an industrial model of education as we have right now. It's a manufacturing model. So you move from here and then you batch everybody, put them in the next one. Batch, just like, if you buy a can of tin tomatoes, they have batch numbers. It's very similar to what we're doing right now to ourselves, which is based on this same linearity, conformity, and batching of people. We have to move to a model that is based on more of the principles of our Greek. We have to recognize that human flourishing is not a mechanical process. Indeed, it is an organic process. It just doesn't happen with that manufacturing model that we have. And that you cannot predict the outcome of human development. All we can do, like a farmer does, is to create the conditions and the circumstances under which people will begin to flourish. Again, please don't get me wrong. This is not a put down or an attempt to put down our education system. Indeed, education prepares you prepares you to better harness your environment and provides you with the tools you need to succeed in pursuit of whatever passion. But we cannot see education as an end. It is, in fact, the beginning. And I think Anthony mentioned that, the beginning. As many of you prepare to graduate, I want to urge you all to make a break from this linear narrative and take a chance at discovering your purpose and passion. And those of you that haven't found that passion but still want to go along the linear path, it is time for you to make that critical decision, because not all of us will need to go along that one path. Why did I choose to speak about this? Well, I chose to speak about education because today the biggest challenge that is facing technology companies or startups right now is not capital. It is indeed talent. Talent and how well we apply talent to execute on our ideas. Indeed, at SMSGH and in many other companies, technology companies, we face the same problems. Vacancies that will fill up within weeks in other markets, it takes months and even years to fill them here. Only because talent, industry, and education are currently misaligned. It's simply not good enough to say, I studied chemistry, but I'm in mobile technology. Or you did chemical engineering, but you are now a relationship banker. I think we must strive for better. And we can do much better with our time. Let me take this opportunity to also call on our education experts to take this on as a challenge and also as an opportunity to reinvent a better system. Because, like it or not, other people's technology is going to change our world at unimaginable speeds. And if we don't inclusively nurture talents, we will fail in the future to break that cycle of poverty and underdevelopment. All of us here use WhatsApp. All of us here love Facebook. All of us here love the applications that come from other markets. Well, it's because they are well built, they are well executed, and this is built purely by talent. At the risk of getting misinterpreted or drawn into a political debate of any kind, let me end by trying to state more clearly. I am not calling for education reform. And often when we hear anybody criticize our education system, we go like, okay, we need to do reform. No. I'm plainly saying it is time for a revolution in higher education. That a new age is upon us, and we must rid ourselves of the metaphors and the narratives and the dogmas of the past and present, and boldly embrace this opportunity for a better future. Thank you all.
Let's give Alex a round of applause. Now we're coming to you live from the Ghana Telecom University College, where we're bringing you the footprint. You can join the conversation. You can send us a message or question if you're at home. The hashtag is for Twitter is hashtag CitiBiz Festival. You can also go to our Facebook page, send us a question, and then we'll give it, read it out to the speakers to answer them for you. Those of you here will open the floor for questions soon after we take two more speakers. But in the interim, I want to ask Alex a question. So let's say most of the students are already stuck in the linear narrative. Tell us 3 basic things you can do to wean yourself off this system.
Okay, so one that comes top of my mind is we need to find creative ways to get as many people to delay going to university. Because if you talk to people that are in master's programs or are going ahead in the same line, they will tell you that their master's program is better when you have had some experience from industry. So it tells us clearly that something is, there's along that same line, there's a big gap that is missing, that we can help close if we can help enough people find passion for what they do. Because the linearity and the conformity is producing boring people. It's producing the same things. And for technology to expand and grow in our parts of the world, it is really talent. And talent is passion and skill. You have to love what you really love, what you like to do. And that's what I think, one of the things that I think can help.
I'll come to you for the second and third, but a lot of people say passion. And it's become the big word now. I mean, when you're about to graduate from school, what your aunties and uncles, so what are you going to do? Then you are like, what are you passionate about? Most people are at a point where they don't really know what they're passionate about. And I always say, it's okay if at a point you don't know what you're passionate about, but help those of us here and those listening. How do you find out what you're passionate about? What are some of the things that you can identify and say, okay, based on this, I can see I'm passionate for this or that, especially in the talent industry, which technology is big on?
Well, it's a personal discovery that everybody has to make. I mean, for me, I could say it took me 4 years to find where my passion really, but when we say passion, it's what would you like to apply your time in doing? You know, what is it that when you're doing, 1 hour feels like 5 minutes? That's your passion. You could spend your time doing that, and if that passion has even a commercial twist to it, then you could turn it into entrepreneurship and a business. But the key here, the key thing for me is we could have more crafty, for example, software engineers. We could have better skilled, better passionate software engineers, if we allowed people to discover what they really wanted to do. If we gave enough people enough time to find what they want to do with themselves. Yeah.
So finally, before I let the next speaker come on board, so I'm here at Technology University, let's say a student. I've already started studying, etc. I know what I'm passionate about. The system, it's a particular way, but I want to go the other way. But for me to move to the next level, I need to go by the system. What do I do?
So the first thing that I think could prevent such is you feel you have to go along that same line.
Yes.
But the line is also delaying you. Like I tell some people, it's okay to drop out if what you're doing, you don't like it. Drop out. You can always come back to school.
Is that really?
But out here,
Yeah.
because we have created a system that shies at dropout, so a lot of us don't have so much respect for, I mean, not to put down anybody, but electricians and carpenters and mechanics, we treat them like they are dropouts, right? We need a rethink of our education system that is more inclusive than exclusive. And that, I think, for me, would allow a lot more people to say, okay, I want to drop off to find a passion, and it should be okay. It should be okay. Some of the best engineers I know didn't go to university, but they're doing great things. You know, and it's all over the world. I mean, in Silicon Valley, we've had interesting stories of how Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and all of them drop out of school to chase what they really want to do. In Ghana, if you attempt to do that, your parents will be after you, your pastor will be after you, your society will be after you. And I think we need to change that narrative. It's getting boring, and it's not going to take us anywhere.
Right, so we need to take bold decisions and see whether the status quo will change. So we'll continue that conversation, but we'll have our next speaker, who is huge at discovering talent. Actually, they've come up, his organization, they've come up with a challenge to harness talents and bring them and then help them develop what they have. So I think this is the right time to bring him into the conversation though. But for those of you who have questions for our speakers, we will open the question floor soon for you to ask your questions. So just write them somewhere. Or like I said, you can tweet them or send them to our Facebook page. The Twitter handle that you should ensure that you add to your question or comment is #CitiBiz Festival. We're coming to you live from the Ghana Telecom University College, where we're bringing you Footprint. I want to acknowledge our sponsors, MTN Business, as well as BNFT, and powered by, of course, Citi FM and Citi Business News. Now, our next speaker is the Data and Services Device Manager at MTN Ghana. He's also the founding curator of the Global Shapers Tamale Hub. He's a passionate marketing executive leading brands to drive products and services on innovation. He's fascinated about innovations in the technology space and has consistently launched and applied mobile technology solutions that address everyday problems. Now, since 2006, he has worked for two multinational telecom companies, the Chinese giant Huawei Technology, as well as MTN, Africa's leading telecom operator. In 2013, he launched the MTN Apps Challenge, which provides opportunity for Ghanaian youth to use technology to solve the litany of problems in Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome Abdul Latif Issahaku, who is our next speaker. You really need to be nice to this guy, because for those of you who have apps developed and you want to, sail through, this is a guy you should be talking to. So give him a nice clap and smile so he gets your attention.
Absolutely.
All right, so Abdul, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Quite a wet morning to have a program like this. How many of us checked if there was going to be rain this morning? Okay. How did you check? Okay, you use a weather app. All right. So that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. Mobile apps. What can we do with it? What are the opportunities in that area? And what are the winning apps we could find in this market? How do you position your app to win in the Ghana market? We are in Ghana, so we are going to be talking a lot more local, all right? But despite that, I'll give you, the global situation about mobile apps. I'll also tell you about the African situation and the local Ghana situation. The main point here is that whatever you are doing, think about Africa. Africa is big enough market for you to sell your product or your service. Okay? All right. So last month, I was fortunate to be in Kigali for the World Economic Forum on Africa. So I had the privilege to present on mobile connectivity in Africa, telling people about unknown stories about mobile connectivity in Africa. One thing that I mentioned to my audience there was that Africa has the highest rate of growth of unique subscribers when it comes to mobile connectivity. Whilst the rest of the world is stagnating, Africa is rather growing. Africa is growing at 6%, Asia is growing at 3%, Latin America 3%, North America 1%, Europe 1%. So everybody seems to be stagnating. We are the only continent that is growing in mobile subscribers. And this presents a huge opportunity for young people like you and I to look at what we can do with mobile, because mobile has come to stay. I'm sure all of us here interact with our mobile phones. As I speak now, I can see some of you busily interacting with your mobile device. It has become part of our lifestyle. So when you are developing solutions, whether at SMS, GH, or iSpace, or wherever you are, think about mobile, because mobile makes a big, big difference. All right, so let's see the situation for Africa. Africa has some 386 million mobile subscribers, as at the end of 2015. This is projected to grow up to 518 million. That's 500 million people in Africa will be connected to mobile. If you add other connectivity on devices like smart cameras, or smart electrical meters, smart water meters, then you are looking at 722 million at the end of 2015. This is projected to grow up to almost 1 billion connections by 2020. That's 5 years from now. So that alone is a very, very significant market to look at. Now, out of this figure, some 24% of the mobile people who are connected on mobile, they use it to do data or internet. They connect to the internet. We all are familiar with the internet and the tremendous opportunities that the internet offers. Okay, this is projected to grow up to about 57%. So meaning that in 5 years from now, 6 out of every 10 people in Africa would be connected to the internet. Imagine how that is going to change our lives and make our lives a lot more easier. When I woke up this morning, I opened my mobile app to check how is the weather going to be this morning. What I got was it's cloudy, showers of rain in parts of Accra. Humidity is around 94%. From the agri-science and other subjects I studied in basic, so I know what humidity is. So it quickly connected that, look, whether I like it or not, there would be rain during some time today, so I better prepare to arrange my day accordingly. Okay, so this is how technology is changing our lives. If you look at the Ghana situation, some 35 million people are connected on mobile. Our population is just 25 million people. I'm sure a couple of people in this room are holding 2 phones or even 3 phones. They are adding to this number, They are doing multiple SIM cards. Okay, so this is very good opportunity, 128% for a developing country like us, putting all these people on mobile. So my cousin in the village is connected. He can communicate to me. I can send him mobile money. He can send me SMS and stuff like that. It's making our lifestyle a lot more easier. Now, if I look at the smartphone connections, in Ghana, some 6 million people have smart devices. So if you are a mobile app developer, 6 million makes a big difference. But my recommendation would be, look at Africa. Africa has 160 million smartphones. And it's very easy to connect with your brother in another African country, to open a branch of your company. I'm sure Alex is You know, SMSGH is in several, you know, operations around the continent, in Kenya, Nigeria, and other places. Okay, it's quite easier to connect with the rest of Africa. If you're afraid that, oh, if I call up the guys in Netherlands or in London to open a branch of my small startup company, they will not mind me, but at least your African brothers will give you the opportunity. You know, let's take advantage of that. There's huge opportunity out there for us. All right, so with all of these numbers that we are seeing in terms of mobile connectivity, the trends are changing in how we live, how we use mobile connectivity. Take M-Pesa. M-Pesa is a mobile money service that is the most successful across Africa. So if you go to East Africa, farmers, traders, everybody's using M-Pesa. Taxi drivers, everybody's using M-Pesa. M-Pesa has become so successful that they have outdone Western Union in terms of the number of transactions that they do. So across their 40,000 agents in the Kenyan market, the number of transactions that they do is higher than the number of transactions that Western Union does globally. You know, Western Union is a global company. They are all over the place. But M-Pesa is better at delivering the service than them because it's mobile, you know. And it's interesting when you read about how mobile money was developed, first done in East Africa with the M-Pesa service. It was developed by an African. It didn't come from anywhere. Okay, so you, myself, and all the young people here and out there, you know, we have what it takes to change the world, okay? We can start solutions here that can impact and inspire the rest of the world. Now, we heard in the news recently that MTN Ghana has hit 3 billion Ghana cedis in mobile money transactions. That is huge, 3 billion. I'm sure some banks will be struggling to raise 3 billion Ghana cedis. You know, but MTN does it on the mobile money platform every single month. Okay, this is huge enough to power an economy. With M-Pesa controlling some 27% of the GDP, the gross domestic product of Kenya, I believe mobile money in a few years from now is going to take a significant chunk of the GDP of Ghana. Another trend I'd like to share with you is mobile insurance. I'm sure a couple of you have had calls from insurance companies. Hey, could you sign up for a life insurance policy or a motor insurance policy and stuff like that? You know, they hustle to sell these insurance policies. But one thing they haven't done is they've not gone mobile, taking these insurance policies to mobile and reaching out to the consumers who need it. Okay, Bima Insurance is one good example. Across Africa, in Ghana and Tanzania, they sold 1 million insurance policies within 2 years. No insurance company is on record to have done that. You know, this is record breaking. So these are trends that mobile poses for users, for big brands, for startup companies to take advantage of and reach out to customers. These are a few things on the social side of things. You know, Africa, we like politics a lot. When we go on Twitter and Facebook, we do a lot of stuff on politics. We actually lead the US and UK when it comes to political conversations on Twitter. Okay, so maybe that is an opportunity for politicians to explore. How do I get to the people out there? I can connect via social media and get the information to them. The conversations will happen there. And 80% of African Facebook users, they actually connect via mobile. They don't go to desktop to log on, to get to facebook.com to log on. So mobile gives them that proximity, that convenience to connect. Ghana has over 3 million Facebook users. On Facebook, when you get there are a lot of mobile applications, Candy Crush and stuff like that. Some of them, you don't get it for free, you pay for it. But I haven't seen any single mobile app coming out of Ghana on Facebook. I'd like to play one. Okay, so this is another area developers could explore. All right, so who is a developer, or a mobile developer for that matter? Anybody who produces mobile apps, simple and short, is referred to as a developer. Okay, so mobile apps basically are applications that run on your smartphones, your tablets, and other mobile devices. This is $1 billion industry. A lot of people have dedicated their lives to it. They have produced mobile apps that have solved problems. Because you need to identify a problem. And in Ghana or Africa, I think we are blessed with too many problems in education, in health, in agric, in sanitation management. We have all sorts of problems. So there is opportunity lying in front of us to solve these problems and make money. You can employ technology, mobile applications to solve most of these problems that we see in our environment. I mentioned earlier that a lot of people spend more time on their mobile, on their mobile phones of late. If you compare the statistics that have been gathered by research firms, it tells us that in 2013, the number of minutes that people spent from 2013 to 2015, that has doubled. People spend more time on their mobile devices, twice as much time on their mobile devices than they did in 2013. Why are they doing all of this? There is opportunity there because they have some interesting apps. When I take my own mobile phone, it's crying for space. I have downloaded so many apps. In fact, I need a personal assistant to start to manage the apps for me because there are just too many. I don't know what I need any longer. Okay, and I'm sure it's the case for many of you. You hear about some interesting apps. Oh, it does this. This game is nice. You go in and download. That's how crazy we have become with mobile applications. So your mobile apps glue you to the phone. Without the mobile apps, your smartphone is virtually nothing. I believe that's why companies like MTN, we have launched what is called the MTN Apps Challenge to nurture talent in mobile applications development. Because to power users to use their mobile devices, you need to give them the content, the tools that they need to use that mobile devices. You need to give them the local games they want. We play Owari 3D. It's one of Ghana's most successful apps, downloaded by over 100,000 people. They've taken the Owari game and put it in digital format, put it on mobile for users to experience. So you can play Owari right in your sitting room, or if you want to compete with somebody in another location, you can actually play it online and have that experience. All right, so apps can be developed in various categories to solve different problems. So you could develop apps for education, languages. Somebody wants to learn Chi or Fanti or Ga, you can develop an app to do that. And I'm sure that could serve as a very good reference for individuals learning languages for the first time. You can develop references or subject areas. People are studying geography. They are having difficulty with it. What can I do by way of a mobile app to guide them to study geography with much ease so that they don't come back saying that geography is difficult, because you give them the tools to study and understand geography. You can also develop lifestyle apps. So if you're a sports person, one app that I go to play a lot is called air hockey. I fancy that app. I go in there, I play several times, and I find it interesting. I set myself some very difficult tasks. You play at very difficult rates, at very with difficult players. Your level of difficulty increases as you succeed in playing the game. Okay, so these are tools that you can use to develop your interest in various areas. So if you are somebody who loves Scrabble or some other interesting game, maybe you want to develop one and put it out there. You could develop apps for shopping. Of late, we see a lot of shopping apps on the market. And these guys are right in their own sense because they have seen an opportunity. We don't want to walk to the market to buy. We want to shop online. You want to discover the things that you want. So you find a lot of mobile apps in the Ghanaian market, the likes of Tisu, Zuba Shop, and others coming up. There's Jumia, there's Kemu, all of these mobile apps selling online, helping you discover what you need right from the comfort of your home or office, okay? Now, there are also apps for entertainment, music downloads, video downloads. People want to do this with ease, but they don't know how. You can develop a mobile app to solve that problem, okay? There are mobile apps for health. People want to monitor their blood pressure, diabetes level, and so on. So there are a whole lot of problems in the local scene that young people like us, we can take advantage of to develop apps to solve. And there are interesting growing categories of apps that we must begin to pay attention to. So if I look at app categories like personalization apps and news and entertainment apps or news and magazines, it's quite interesting. News is one area everybody wants to catch up with. So you would find every single radio or TV station trying to put out a mobile app there, because that is how users can easily consume your information. They may not remember what your URL is to say, okay, citifmonline.com. A lot of people may not remember to get that address right, but if you have a Citi FM app, which Citi FM does, you go in there to Google Play, you download the app, and you can follow all the news from Citi FM, okay? So that's how it works. So these are categories of apps that we have seen a lot of growth in. So if you are going to develop apps, these are just some guidelines. You look at news and magazines, you look at utilities and productivity apps, you look at lifestyle and shopping apps. These are app categories that when you focus on, you can make a lot of success with. I mentioned earlier that Ghana has a lot of problems in education, in the way we do things. You want to change the way we buy and sell. You want to get the tomato seller around the corner to sell online. Okay, the tomato seller needs to be powered so that you can pay via mobile money. You place an order, you pay via mobile money. The next day, the tomatoes is delivered at your doorstep. You go online, find all the fashion stuff you need, and it's delivered to you. Payment is done via mobile money. So there's no physical movement. You don't pay for the transport that you ordinarily would have done. Okay, so these are simple and easier ways technology is being used to empower us to make our lives much more easier. There's a whole lot of cry about schools under trees. People do not have access to classrooms. Can we get them another alternative way of learning? Can't we put the content on tablets? Okay, get these kids to own some of those tablets and access the content wherever they are located in the hinterlands. It costs so much to put up those classrooms. Okay, so these are all problems that is facing us, and we have the opportunity to put our solutions, get to the right stakeholders to get it adopted and used by the market. Now, the apps industry globally is $1 billion industry, projected at $57 billion. We in Africa, we haven't really had a good share of that $57 billion. Okay, I think it is time for us to pay attention to it and begin to take our share of the pie. Now, if I look at iOS, Apple has the largest market share when it comes to the apps, availability and so on. But Apple is doing quite a good job. If you look at what they are paying to developers, they are paying out so much. They pay $25 billion. All right, and that App Store was launched some 7 or 8 years ago. Google came to the party late with the Google Play App Store. All right, and as at end of 2015, they had paid just about $8 billion. All right, so this is a billion-dollar industry. You can sit in your room, develop a mobile app, and make very big impact. You don't need a big office to do that. Also, in terms of share of apps revenue, Apple leads the trend. Apple has 58% of the market, closely followed by the Google Play Store at 38%. Okay, and if you look at app installations, just about 14% of the apps are installed from the Apple App Store. A huge 86.2% is stored from Google, from the Google Play. Google Play has so many apps, some of them very good, and they go for free. Users will go for them, put them on their mobile devices to explore. So despite all this egalitarian appeal about apps, Africa or developing countries, small countries like us, we haven't really taken advantage of that explosion yet. It's a winner-take-all market, so we've got to put out the right applications to make significant impact. 95% of the estimated app industry value is captured by just a few countries who have put in the right systems, the right ecosystem that we call it. You have the developers, the designers, people who develop concepts, people who actually go to code it and getting it tested and putting out on the market, and also people who fund those apps, put their money behind the applications to get them sold, people who do the marketing, people who do the legal work. That is how the app ecosystem works. Okay, so we haven't really built that in this country. So we have opportunity to do that. There's a so-called Silicon Valley in East Africa that seems to be doing well. In Kenya, a lot of hubs and incubators teaching people about mobile apps, encouraging mobile applications development to solve problems. In Ghana, we have a few incubators like Meltwater teaching people how to develop mobile applications. You can take advantage of programs like that to enhance your knowledge in that area. So there are a couple of countries, mostly in East Africa, that succeed in the mobile apps area, the likes of Vietnam, Turkey, and Belarus, doing quite well. They are not developed countries, quite ordinary like us, but they seem to be doing so well in terms of number of developers available on the market and putting out significantly good apps. We have struggled to export our apps to appeal to the larger global audience, and that is how the money is made. All right, Flappy Bird is one example of an app that has been quite successful. At one point, this guy from Vietnam who developed Flappy app was making some $55,000 every day from his app. People found it so exciting. They downloaded it so many times, and he made a fortune out of his app. All right, so this is how powerful mobile apps can change your own small economy. All right, so the app ecosystem is something that we significantly need to build here with the marketing people, the legal people, and everybody who plays a role in making sure that our applications succeed. Ghana has a very tiny market, a very tiny size of developers. So we are looking at a market of less than 500 developers in Ghana. When we ran the apps challenge, we've had a little over 100 developers coming through to take part in the competitions. All right, so to conclude, I'll give you 4 tips to carry away what to do in order to succeed with your mobile apps. First of all, take part in developer competitions. What it does for you is that when you win, we give you visibility. You know, big brands are very good. Big brands like MTN, we are very good at projecting people. When you win, we put out your story. The first guy who won the MTN Apps Challenge, Cetrico, he developed the Owari 3D app. Within 3 months, the app had recorded over 30,000 downloads. He got a lot of calls from companies like Microsoft to come and develop for them, to develop apps and put on the Windows App Store. Okay, so that exposure alone, it does a lot of good for the developer. Secondly, you need to think local, but you act globally. I have already mentioned that Africa has some 160 million smartphone users. Ghana may not be a good size of a market for you. Explore going continental wide to the rest of Africa with your solution. You could be successful in that regard. Also, work in teams. What we have found is that a lot of developers think it's a technical, solution to a problem. No, it is a societal problem. The best people who often come with solutions are the social science guys. So you are a developer, but there is another guy studying social science. When you work closely with these guys, they are likely to give you some of the best approaches to use in order to develop the mobile app. So working in teams makes a very big difference. Also, the games apps have been significantly successful. The likes of apps from Leti Arts and Owari 3D, people love it. They download it a lot and they use it a lot. That is something that I'm still trying to unravel. Why do Ghanaians love game apps more than other apps? Okay, so this is something for a tip for us to all take advantage of and probably put up more apps in the games area. That can make a significant difference for the developer, okay? But keep in mind that there are so many problems. You are developing apps to solve problems. Look at all the solutions available to address issues in our society, in health, in education, and so on. All right, so I'll stop at this point and we'll take questions, if any. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abdul. We're coming to you live from the Ghana Technology College University and we're live on your dial 97.3 FM. Abdul, don't go yet. Now, those of you who have questions or contributions, etc., you can write them. Those of us here, you can write them. We'll open the floor pretty soon, but in the meantime, those of you at home, you can send it via Twitter, #CitiBiz Festival, or you can write it on our Facebook page, that's Citi 97.3 FM. I'd also want to announce for those of us here that the MTN stands are outside. You know, MTN will soon be rolling the 4G service, so you can go and see if your device is compatible. If not, they'll let you know, and then you probably need to get a new phone. Or maybe they'll run something. Abdul, will you run something to give us new phones for those of us who don't have? So you can go out at a point and then check if your device is compatible. But it looks like teamwork is quite key in the app world. But for those of us who want to do the individual thing, we're not really good with teamwork and all that. How do we penetrate the industry?
I think it doesn't hurt at all. If you have solutions to problems, you have looked out for the solutions, you have researched on them, and you think that the approach that you are using is good, go ahead and develop solutions. when you work in teams, it gives you opportunity to bring in people, let's say, who are ordinarily not developers. They think about solutions from the point of view of the average Joe on the streets. So these guys are able to think in a way that a technical person will not think about. And apps are supposed to make your life easier, not to complicate it. So if they come with very simple approaches to the problems, and you adopt these ways of developing the app, it ends up being a very good hit.
And for those students who want to already, they're thinking big and want to go the international way already, you know, how can they penetrate that industry internationally?
Internationally, going global, very important, is key to your success. It gives you access to more customers. How do you do that? Link up with your colleagues or your friends or your cousins out there living in other countries. Start from Africa. You know, your African brothers and sisters are the closest to you. You probably can place a call to, easily place a call to a friend in Nigeria to help set you up, okay? Or a friend in Kenya to help set you up. That is how we can grow our companies, our startup companies easier, okay?
All right, thank you, Abdul. We'll have the floor open proper for Abdul to take your question in a pretty number of minutes. But let's go to our next speaker. He is somebody I think has done pretty well in the industry as well. That's why he's, of course, here with us this morning. He actually is the co-founder and CTO of iSpace Foundation. He's interested in making an impact with his acquired skills and knowledge to communities for social good. In 2011, he organized the Mobile Apps Ghana Showcase together with his business partner, which was the first of its kind in the country and West Africa. The showcase was organized because of the passion they both had about promoting innovators as well as educating the greater public on some of the mobile services in the market. He, until recently, was a program coordinator at Google, where he helped educational institutions deploy, adapt, and integrate Google apps into their IT infrastructure to enhance collaboration, communication, and learning in social community. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Fifi Baidu, our next speaker, with a round of applause. So Fifi will be helping us deal with so many challenges in this industry, because it's actually a young one in this country, and some of our counterparts out there are doing greater and bigger things. Fifi will help us understand the kind of challenges we are likely to encounter, how we'll deal with them, and how to move to the next level. Fifi.
All right, thank you very much, Vivian. So I would like to begin with how I actually got into technology. So I studied visual arts back in senior high, and I wanted to do architecture after school. Now, some of you are aware that if you did visual art, that means you didn't do elective maths, right? And for some reason, you don't qualify to do computer science, architecture, engineering, and co. I did not agree to it, so I decided to still proceed and look for alternatives to do that. And so whilst doing that, I thought AutoCAD would be a very good place for me to start. So I enrolled in a school, a computer school, to actually study AutoCAD. Fortunately, there was not enough students to do that. So whilst waiting for a class to fill up and people to register, I decided to do one of the courses. I randomly chose computer hardware and networking. And I don't regret. Ever since that day, I have never even thought of AutoCAD from that day. I had lots of questions back then, you know, after. So basically with computer hardware, I was able to assemble a computer together. I was able to build my own computer and co. Now, I had lots of questions back then, and some of these questions were, how do you get the computer to actually work? How is this hardware actually understanding instructions? And so I did some research, and then I learned that it's actually something called software. So how does this software actually work? That means you need to learn to program and then give the computer some instructions. So I read a lot. I made sure I had some knowledge in that space, and this is how I acquired those knowledge. I used unconventional methods. I did a lot of apprenticeship. I went to university and did some internship, and then also did a lot of voluntary service. By unconventional method, I read a lot on online. I did a lot of YouTube exercises. I went for a lot of workshops. Back then in 2003, there was very little opportunity for people like myself, young people like myself, who wanted to get into the software industry. And so the only thing I had was to just go online and then look for every little opportunity that I could get. And so, fast forward, I moved on to work for a lot of companies, and for me, it was very important that, whilst gaining university education, the formal education, I also, made sure I gained some skills from, professional life. So, throughout my university education, I made sure that I was doing internship, from the beginning, from the very first year. I was always interning, working on voluntary products, and then offering my services for free. And then, from that time, I learned a lot, and then some of the skills I gained from that journey was computer hardware and networking skills, relevant business skills, software engineering skills, and product design skills. There was a question earlier on about passion and actually finding what you are passionate about. And when I started, I didn't really know what to do. So I decided to be very flexible. Whenever I was given a role or an assignment which was not necessarily in the line of IT, I always welcomed it because I never knew where I was going to find my passion. So I did work in various industries, from finance, education, and the telecom space as well. And so it's very important that, as you are in school, you spend the time that you have very well. Whenever you're on holidays, don't waste it. You have 24 hours in a day, make very good use of it. During your long holidays, make sure you go for internship, and don't make money the priority. Just make sure you go out there to learn something. When I started, internet, getting your business online and websites and co was a big thing back then. We consumed more of foreign content than the local content back then. Mobile really wasn't a big thing then, because the mobile apps we had was very basic. At the very moment, in fact, Abdul has given a lot of statistics on the mobile trends and all that, so I really wouldn't get into it. But some of the technology that is trending right now that you need to read and learn more about is one, advanced robotics and AI, 3D printing, mobile internet. And mobile internet is very important because, again, how do you access information as you sit here is via your mobile. And it doesn't, if you have an idea or a product that you want to develop, it doesn't necessarily have to be a mobile app first. Because because sometimes it's going to take a while for you to develop the mobile app. So if you really want to test your idea and then launch it, you can start with a mobile site as an example, just to test the idea that you have before, as you take your time to build the mobile app. Whatever, I mean, if it's e-commerce that you're getting into, if it's just a basic news website, whatever it is, whatever product that you have, you should be able to access it via the mobile, either using the browser or using a mobile app, a native app. Another tech that is trending is AI, and you can read more on that. Some of the interesting AIs that we have out there. We have Watson by IBM, we have Siri, and then we have Google now. Another interesting area is IoT, that is Internet of Things. So now, so Internet of Things basically is getting things on the internet, and then being able to control things on the over the internet. And then there's big data. So all kinds of data will be generated as a result of IoT and AI, that is artificial intelligence. And so you need to learn how to store the data that you're going to be creating. You need to learn how to create insight from this data, and also learn how to do predictions from this data. And there is cloud technology. So cloud technology is very important for all of us. In fact, for most of the apps that we are all using, it makes use of cloud technology. It basically makes it possible to, for a startup to have IT capabilities of bigger institutions or bigger bigger companies. And so with cloud technology, you can build solutions that scale faster, and then even employ infrastructure experts for almost nothing. Now I'll quickly jump to how I am using iSpace to give back and create startups. So when I got into this space, when I got into IT, as I mentioned earlier, there was really no space for me to go to. There was actually very few places for you to go learn more about technology in Ghana. And at some point, in fact, very often I wanted to start my own business, but we all know the obstacles that make it very difficult for people to start their own business. You have the issue with rent, you have issue with internet, and you have issues with power. And so I decided to start iSpace with my business partner, and the main reason behind that is to try and create a startup ecosystem that provides workspace, free mentorship, free workshops, free coding classes, and then free 3D labs to help people prototype their ideas. At iSpace, we are doing the little we can for entrepreneurs and startups to bootstrap their businesses. Some of the areas that we are getting into is IoT, big data, and then open data. I will jump to the main points, which are tips for getting into technology entrepreneurship. The very first tip I have is when developing your ideas. Actually, this tip is going to contradict some of the tips that most of the speakers have given, but I'll go ahead anyway. So when developing your ideas, think global, not local. Remove the GH tag, remove the Africa tag. Problems and solutions are not limited to Africa and Ghana alone. The solution you might have might not work for Ghana and Africa alone or at all. It doesn't mean you should not do it just because it doesn't work for Ghana. Point 2, find a mentor. Point 3, value experience and knowledge more than money. In fact, if you can, do lots of apprenticeship. Some time back, people did apprenticeship for as long as 7 years, 8 years, and in some cases paid their masters for the knowledge that they gained. And I think these days it doesn't really happen, but find somebody to work with. To work under. We have what we have. Just make good use of the resources available to you. There are so many complaints about Ghana, we don't have this infrastructure, we don't have these resources. And so these are the reasons why I'm not starting my business, and I've not done anything at all. Personally, it's true. I mean, it's very difficult to start your business or do so much when you have so many obstacles. But I think some of these are just excuses. You can make use of what you have. Just find the right people, learn from the right people, make the right contacts, build your network, and then you should be able to do whatever you want. Don't stop learning. The industry changes rapidly. It's changing very rapidly. Be guided with research and numbers. Don't get on the hype market. Start something and don't stop doing. You don't have to code to start a tech business. Don't be afraid to partner with people who can support your project. Thank you.
Fifi, just when I was enjoying the tips, then you just ended. So what was going through my mind about, for example, the apprenticeship? Now, you hear most of the students say, well, I would want to, do an internship, but I'm not getting the opportunity to do so. Most of the companies say, I'm not taking anybody now. Those people, where do they go to? And secondly, for those who say that they cannot afford really for after school to start the apprenticeship because they need to take care of the family, what do those people to do?
Okay. I think those people who are not finding the companies to do their internships are probably looking at the wrong places. Because I know businesses looking for people to work with them. There are so many startups looking for interns. And sometimes when looking for a place to work, people get so much into the flashy things. Most startups can't afford to pay interns. And some of these interns, as I mentioned earlier, are thinking about being paid. I've had people call me that they want to do their internships at iSpace. And one of the very first, in fact, the first question they ask is, can I do my intern at iSpace or wherever? The second question is, will I be paid? Immediately you bring that up. That startup or that business who could have, taken you will just shut. And I know that for people who have to take care of their families and co, is a very tough decision, but it's a price you have to pay sometimes. If they've taken you through school to a certain point, they need to still help you, to achieve some of the things you have to. Because as a student, let's say we both finish computer science, we have the same degree. What is going to set, us apart? We apply for the same job. What is going to set me apart, what is actually going to make me get a job, is the fact that I spent my holidays building skills, actually understanding what I was being taught in the classroom. When I was in the university, from first year, in fact, before I entered, I was working and building solutions that industries were using. So it wasn't a theory thing. Before I finished, in fact, before I finished university, I was doing consultancy for some of the big companies. So by the time I'm even done, I already have a job. And you might have summa cum laude and all that, but that really wouldn't get you the job. It's the experience at the end of the day.
Wow. A round of applause for Fifi. Fifi will be taking your questions in a bit after we take our last speaker. Let me say we're coming to you live from the Ghana Technology University College, where we're bringing you the Footprint, which is one of our outdoor events we are rolling out this year for the CitiBusiness Festival. Now, our next speaker is the CEO of Ethel Technology Consulting. She has over 15 years experience in the technology industry. She doubles as the founder of Women in Tech Africa. She's an initiator of the first Pan-African Women in Tech meetup. Her firm also won the IT Consulting Firm of the Year in this year's Ghana Information Technology and Telecom Awards. As a Mandela Fellow for President Obama's Young African Leaders Initiative, that's YALI, she has been featured in BBC and CNN for her work in technology and women leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ethel Coffie, who is our next speaker, with a round of applause. I love Ethel because Ethel is pushing an agenda which I don't think, as women, we are going to apologize for. I mean, your industry is seen as a male-dominated one, and it's always beautiful when you see a woman who is pushing through and is, you know, rubbing shoulders with the men. And I can see a number of women here who want to enter this industry. Whether you like it or not, you're going to feel the challenge, aside from the real challenge, the challenge of being a woman. Ethel will take us through some of these challenges and get into the top herself in this company that she's set up. So let's welcome Ethel to tell us what she has for us.
Thank you, Vivian. Good morning. Okay, so this is the obligatory slide about myself. So my name is Ethel Coffie. Vivian did an amazing job of announcing me. So I run Ethel Technology Consulting, where an IT consulting firm where we build custom software and we work with companies to find strategic advantage in technology. I've been doing this for a while, for a long while. And I started Women in Tech Africa, which is my second, it's a foundation, because I'd been in the industry for a long time as a female, and I understood that there were specific there were specific issues with women in male-dominated industries. And so part of Women in Tech Africa was, well, how can we bring women together to learn from each other, to network, to grow in their careers? How can we affect our community positively? Oh, before I forget this, so I've said I'll make this a point in all the things I speak at now. So I received a CV about 3 weeks ago, to somebody that needed a job. And they were using text speak. So I helped my friends, MA. Please don't do that. That's absolutely ridiculous. If you're looking for a job, the least you can do is to proofread your CV before you send it out. Okay. So, as I mentioned, I've been doing this for a little while. I'm passionate about technology, especially for businesses. I've worked with companies and brands to enable them use technology as a strategic advantage, to enable them to be their industry leaders because of software they deploy or their positioning based on technology. So I've worked in a number of countries. So I've worked in, actually, as to Fifi's story, I've had a job since my second year of university. So I worked part-time through university. And I think I was paid 50 cedis a month there. I worked for my at the time, my head of department who had a consultancy. So every Friday, I would go. So I had to schedule those. I had to be in the office 1 day a week. So I'd schedule and I'd be there, and I'd work with him. I mean, I knew next to nothing, to be honest. When I started with him, I knew next to nothing. But 50 cities doesn't do anything but pay for your transport, right? But there was a lot of learning that I gained from being with him and going into meetings with him. I remember he even sent me to a conference in Benin to go and speak on his behalf, and I was 21 at the time. I remember thinking to myself, dear God, I'm not going to be able to do this. But with coaching and learning, we're able to make it. So I thought, I mean, you've had an amazing speakers before me, and they've given you practical steps. And I thought I'd just tell you a few stories from the lessons I've learned in my 15 plus years in working in roles through Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, UK, in a variety of roles. And now that I run my own company, and the lessons that I've learned on the way. Right, so there's obligatory. This is my company. We won the IT consulting firm of the year. We have a number of great clients like Delex Finance, and this is Women in Tech. That image up there is our footprint on the continent, in the world. So we are in over 30 countries globally. So I love that image because it shows the footprint of the impact we're making as Women in Tech Africa. And again, we've been featured in a large number of groups. Okay, so we'll tell 5 little stories. We'll keep it short. The lessons I have learned. So somebody said this to me about 2 years ago when I was as a young African, as part of the YALI initiative, Young African Leaders Initiative. Part of it was spending time in the US with an institution of learning, and I happened to have spent 6 weeks at Yale University. And there's a lecturer that came in who I think is the strategic advisor to the MBA. To MBA when they are doing negotiations. And one of the things he said that I loved is to keep the main thing, right? What is the core of what you want to achieve? Again, there's so many stories and people will have different stories, but you have your internal compass and you know what it is that you want to achieve with your career. Professionally, right? So keep the main thing. What is my core? I always keep that thing up there, is finding the shortest. I love technology as an enabler for businesses. And so when I worked, that is what I was known for. I was known for the one that would be called into the boardroom when they were trying to figure out, should we spend money on this technology or should we spend money on this technology? Because I knew the strategy of the company, I knew where the company was going. I would read about the industry and things that were going in the industry and movements and future of the industry. And I already knew and understood how we should strategically place ourselves as a company. So I would be called in because I'd done the work. Right, and it was important to me. That was the core. That's the core of what I believe technology should do. And then there's a funny joke, because finding the shortest possible way to the first $1 million, right? if that's your core, then that's your core. But remember, there's so many things that are happening, especially when you come out of school. Somebody's going to this job, somebody's going to this role, somebody's starting a company. You need to figure out what for you is success, what that means, and keep that core for all the things that are thrown at you and all the different directions that people will push you in. Keep the main thing the main thing. Okay, we'll come back to this. So this is a funny one. So Grumpy Cat makes more money. Does anybody here know Grumpy Cat? Okay, so Grumpy Cat is an actual cat that exists and has an owner, where a lot of brands have done adverts with the cats and that sort of thing. The owner of the cat, the cat himself makes about 12 million pounds a year. And it's a very humbling thought. It's a very interesting thought. That with all your schooling and with all your knowledge, a cat makes more money than you. Now, why do I keep this? I keep this, and I think I wrote a blog post about maybe 3 years ago on how interesting the idea is. When you create value, right, people put value on things. Now, Grumpy Cat is valuable to the brands that work with him. Why? Because he makes people laugh, and somehow people enjoy him. And so the price that brands place on him is the 12 million a year. There are people that are, you were better than in class, that you have a higher IQ in, but if they create something, if they are of value to their employer, and they create something that has value, guess what? They will make more money than you do. I keep this to remind me. Lesson number 3. Trust is currency. Your Rolodex, in the networked world, where all of us are networked, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'll tell you a little story. I'm connected to so many people on Facebook, but I know for a fact that because we always pull the statistics, that for adult technologies, all the business or every single client, 90% of the clients that we have are people that have either met me, heard me speak, right? Nobody's gone to our website and looked at the things we wrote. Why? Because in the network world, there are a lot of people that are telling their story and talking about how fabulous they are, right? But when people talk to me face to face, or that have and have read things that I've written, they understand the depth of the knowledge that I have and what I have done. Everybody is networked. Everybody is claiming to be number one. Everybody is claiming to be. But when you can engender trust and people believe that you will deliver on time and on budget, it doesn't matter how many people are there howling and screaming, your clients will come to you. I always say that, I was saying with the Ghana Telecom Awards, our clients put us forward. Our clients are the ones, we did a video after winning that. It was all pushed by our clients because they really believed in us. And some of them were clients when we were one-man business, right? And they believe in us. Well, because we've worked really hard. I have one client that says, okay, whatever you want, Ethel, just let me just find the money, right? So we decide what we want to build. And when he talks to me, he believes that I'm giving him the best advice possible. So it's not a conversation about, let me go and shop around. They know that I'll tell them, actually, don't waste your money here. And sometimes I lose money. But I'm very truthful, and I built the brand and the company on that fact, that the client would come and sit to us and I'll say, this won't be successful. This won't work. And I lose money. But guess what? I have that client for life because they know they can trust me. And they can trust that what I say to them is in their best interest. And they can trust that I care about their business growth. It's the same thing for you when you go into jobs or it's entrepreneurship, right? You create value for your employer, right? I love the people that work for me. I love the ones that will like, oh, I spent this weekend, I was looking at this topic and it was interesting and I put something together, let's discuss. Because for me, I think they are doing above and beyond and they care about the company, right? So if you're creating value for where you are, all of a sudden the space in which you influence gets wider, right? So your boss thinks, oh, this guy, this girl, I see that, I have a discussion with them and they go away and they think a little deeper and they do a little bit more research and they come back to me with solutions and ideas and thoughts. They've done it once, they've done it twice. The third time I'll say, oh, you know what do you think? Right? You're entry level, right? Remember entry level, you have no power. right? Say, what do you think? Where should we go? So you have, your influence increases, right? And you are more valued to an employer. Develop your own cult. It sounds a little odd. But when I started business, I have a lot of people that support me, people that are entrepreneurs. My dad has been an entrepreneur for years. I'm from a family of entrepreneurs. And it's wedded to be interesting, but it is that who is the person that gets your idea? If you want to be an entrepreneur, who is the person that has the problem so much that immediately you start talking about the solution or what your solution is, they're already ready to put their hand in their pocket and pay you, right? So we say develop your own cause. The people that are fervently waiting for a solution to the problem, to the app that you built or to the business that you're building, right? And that's a really interesting thing, because when people are doing their business plans, we are going to serve the whole world. Actually, you're best served to think about the first group of people that get it. The people that will go and evangelize for you. The people that will go and tell other people about your product because it's so amazing, it solved their problem. Find those people, listen to those people,